Well, here's the sort of misunderstanding and the miscommunication around AI, right? I think there's some barriers that we do have to overcome on the automation and leveraging AI.
Welcome to the SCDM podcast series on partnership in clinical trials. I have the pleasure to be joined by Wayne Walker from Medidata, SVP of R&D Digital Technology. Thanks for joining, Wayne.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure.
Thanks to you. So, in the team of partnership, I will start because you have been a very strong supporter of SCDM for a long time. I have seen Medidata supporting almost all SCDM events, being in Europe and in the US. So for you, what does that partnership bring to Medidata?
Oh, well, it's multifaceted. Mm-hmm. First of all, the conference engagements are wonderful. Data management is a very small community. Mm-hmm. So it's always great to see former colleagues, partners of Medidata, to really engage with them in that type of forum. The other thing that we actually get from the conference element of this is engaging with customers around what we're doing in R&D at Medidata in a more informal way than maybe a meeting with that customer. So that's on the conference side. Happy to communicate what we're doing from a development standpoint in those opportunities. The other thing as well is to really engage with the thought leaders of our industry. The presentations and the content at SCDM in both Europe and the US has been phenomenal for a long time. Then on the corporate partnership, obviously we're engaged in the innovation committees and the other outputs from SCDM that are second to none. They're really moving the needle forward as we progress in the data management discipline. So those are the main two areas that really we get advantage of from being a corporate partner at SCDM.
And to be honest, Wayne, on the flip side, we do benefit a lot as well. I think hearing the voice of the thought leadership on the technical space is really helping us paving the way and confirming we are in the right direction. Sometimes we could feel we are in a vacuum, but having confirmation and feedback loop from experts like you are tremendous. So that helps a lot. So I know we had a very good start of the conference, actually, and there's a lot of topics around AI, risk-based, and even yourself presented this morning about AI and adoption of AI. What's your take on how far we can go with artificial intelligence, do you think?
Well, here's the sort of misunderstanding and the miscommunication around AI, right? It's like people think there's a button that you just push and suddenly it solves your problems. I think we've done a fairly good job since this technology has been at our fingertips of finding use cases of where we can leverage that. I think for the foreseeable future, there's going to be a human in the loop type of conduct of leveraging AI. And then that'll get more confidence in the actual technology. Because one of the barriers that we mentioned this morning in my presentation is the confidence and the acceptance of AI. And we try and break down those barriers by explaining how it works. I don't know whether I did a good job of that this morning, but I think we need to do more and more of that because that'll help the adoption within the data management discipline. How far we can go, I think there's some barriers that we do have to overcome on the automation and leveraging AI, but I don't think we know yet. I think that we've got to slowly and methodically work through those use cases, and invariably other avenues will open up based on that experience.
You're absolutely right. I don't believe we know exactly how far we can push the boundaries. It's clear that we have a lot to final tune. We have to work closely with the regulator to make sure what is acceptable, what is not. We have to really find the right place for human. I think it's not about replacing human, but it's really enhancing human capabilities. And yes, on those boundaries needs to be defined moving forward.
Yeah, and I'll give kudos to SCDM. The last 3 or 4 conferences that I've been at, regulators have been very much at the forefront of the content and really sort of collaborating with our organizations to see what that world looks like, how they can provide that oversight in the new AI world. So yeah, it's been a great job by SCDM to engage with those folks.
And maybe a tougher question. So I know at SCDM we have been advocating for the evolution of the discipline around four main drivers, being the adoption of intelligent solutions, AI. We know our protocol are becoming more complex, having umbrella, basket, platform. We know we have to focus on what matter, on applied risk-based methodologies. And the last but not least is really getting closer to the patients on decentralizing activities. Do you see anything missing from that direction that you're listening or hearing from your customers?
I think that there are a few things missing, but we're working through. But one of the ones that maybe we've not really operationalized yet from even a technology standpoint is giving the patient population different mechanisms to engage in the clinical research realm. And what I mean by that is we all have a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And we've got to do a better job of providing that sort of flexibility to patients to engage with clinical research based on that lifestyle. Yeah. Right now, patients can engage in a sliver of the sort of clinical research, the study, and everybody engages in that modality across that trial. We've got to give flexibility in the actual execution and the engagement with patients based on their lifestyle. Because people are going to be comfortable with different technology, with different person-to-person interaction, and we've got to provide a better mechanism for them to engage in that manner.
No, you're absolutely right. I think for too long, patients have been in data management, a number in the case report form, and we forgot to see their need behind an EDC system or behind technology. So you're absolutely right. We need to find a way to engage with patients, getting closer to them, being understood by them, and understanding them better. And I think it will be one key for success, definitely.
Yeah.
So, very good point. Taking it back, actually, switching topics, going back to the partnership, is there anything else you would like from SCDM or the industry in general to help moving the needle further?
That's a really good question. I think maybe a little more aggressive, maybe in some areas around really having an opinion and maybe being a little more articulate in the transition from data management to data science, and really pushing that. I think we're doing a good job of putting sort of position papers and content and white papers out there. I think within our organizations, we need to do a little more in that realm. And that's both on technology providers, by the way, as well as the sponsor and CRO world.
No, to be honest, your message resonates very well with SCDM and with me. I think, to your point, we have been advocating for the change for the last couple of years. And now we're really moving from a reflection to action, and you'll see a lot more specific documentation on how to implement it, more training and support to adopt what we have been advocating for. It's totally fair. I think we need to do more and reach out to our community with how to. We advocated, explained the why we need to change, the what was changing, but I think we need to complete the story by the how, which is basically our journey today.
Great.
To be honest, when it comes to partnership, if we flip it around about competition, I know the tech space is highly competitive. And I think it's not, you all want to be providing the best technology and meet the need of your customer. But how do you see competition impacting what you do on your way of thinking?
Yeah, good question. So a couple of things. There is far more competition, as you say, in the tech space than there ever has been. What's interesting is that a lot of friends and former colleagues are working at competitors of ours. So that's always an interesting dynamic to re-engage with those folks and reminisce. And we have a lot of friends that sort of are in multiple of those organizations. From my perspective and Medidata's perspective, we really welcome competition. The reality is competition is what's going to drive our industry forward in multiple areas, right? Not only in tech, but other domains within clinical research. So we welcome that. It's sort of braces you and forces you to really be innovative, really bring the best technology to market, the more competition there is. And ultimately, that's going to have benefit for clinical research and, most importantly, the patients that are demanding the treatments that we're actually providing to the market. Our mission at Medidata is very much to get better treatments to patients faster. And I think that competition actually drives that as well.
I think I would agree with you. I think it's the way you progress, learning from each other.
Absolutely.
And yes, it's not for the good of the patients. Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's ask a question of you. So SCDM, I've been involved with SCDM for a long time. It was very much process focused for a long time at the beginning of my career, quite rightly. The advent of more and more technology made these sort of conferences, engagements, very much technology focused, with an operational element, obviously, because we have the people, process, and technology threads in our leadership forum. But where do you see sort of SCDM in sort of 3, 4, 5 years from now?
Okay, that's a very good question, actually. And I will relate back to what you said earlier on. First and foremost, in the next 2 years, we need to be able to translate that reflection to action. So we'll be focusing a lot on training material, new chapter on best practices to help adopting clinical data science principle for the good of the patients. But to me, if you project further away, and it's not just about growth and attracting more people, it's really about impacting and doing what is right. I believe, as I mentioned before, we have too often seen a patient as a number on a casebook, and now with the decentralization of clinical trial activities, we're seeing patients more engaged and more front-facing with clinical data management and clinical operation in general. So we're going to open up SCDM to wider partnership with patient advocacy group, and actually we're signing an agreement about a terminology helping patients understand clinical research terminology. We're going to start writing articles on information for patients. We're going to engage with clinical sites more, because I think we need to be more inclusive. We have been a tiny bit isolated, focused on technology and process, as you said, but it's no longer sustainable. I think the future is patient-driven. Some patients are different from others. So if you're an elderly patient, you might not welcome technology as much as a youngster. So we need really to adapt for patients. And I see SCDM taking a front seat in opening to all stakeholders in the industry. So that's my personal mission, and I'm really looking forward to make it happen.
Well, good luck, and I enjoy being part of that.
Thanks again to you and Medidata for being such a strong partner and a voice for CDM in general, and SCDM particularly. So thanks, Wayne.
Thank you. Happy to be part of it.